Sometimes you just need to cry, am I right? I mean, you get to a point where you're so oversaturated with this emotional numbness that you need some sort of a jolt to remind you how beautiful feeling can really be. It takes great sadness to be able to really appreciate great joy. I believe it was Eleanor Rigby who once said that, and that's why the Beach Boys won't shut up about her. Be honest with me here, when's the last time you cried? For me, it was 3rd grade when I saw Dumbledore die in Harry Potter 6. Took way longer than it should have for me to calm down from that. Now, while I may not have wept since then, I have sweated the old eyeballs here and there on occasion, but it's only ever happened because of something that I've watched. So without further ado, here are some moments that made my face precipitate, and I think it might do the same for you. Spoiler warning for these movies, TV shows, and video games. First off, we have the dad scene from the movie Barnyard. And although this movie was fairly lackluster, this one scene alone, even without context, is enough to flood anyone with several emotions. In the scene I'm talking about, the tradition-following, duty-driven father, the protagonist, we find sitting alone, watching over the farm, playing I Won't Back Down by Tom Petty.
Well, I won't back down.
As he does so, a pack of wolves enter the chicken coop, and right as one of them gets their hands on the chicken...
Are you gonna stop us?
No, he is.
The dad says,
Put the hen down, Dag.
The wolves attack him and he defends himself with his guitar while Won't Back Down continues to play in the background. A fatal blow is dealt to him. Despite this, he holds them off and spares the lives of the wolves, telling them to never come back. He dies soon after. It's beautiful, inspiring, intense, and most of all sad. This scene has made me secrete moisture from my cornea so many times, and it might do the same for you. Next is the opening scene from Up. Up, as a whole, is a decent film, however, the opening sequence is in a category of its own. It's sad but beautiful and so damaging for people to watch because it's so real. People actually do meet, fall in love, grow old together, and then oftentimes one of them dies before the other. Seeing this journey happen so quickly on screen, backed by the hauntingly gorgeous visuals and brilliant score, is more than most people can handle. In my film class, we were forced to watch it 3 times in a row, and it was just the worst. Next, we have Iroh's story from the episode Tales of Ba Sing Se. This is from the show Avatar: The Last Airbender, and if you don't know, the character Uncle Iroh is a war general turned tea shop owner who serves as the wise old uncle of the main antagonist and eventually befriends almost every character in the show. He's kind and insightful and demonstrates selflessness and strength in almost every scene that he's in. In this episode, we see him helping a baby stop crying, helping someone who is trying to rob him to realize their own potential and inspire them to live an honest life. At the end of the episode, we see him at the top of the hill making a shrine for his son who was killed in the war. He then says,
"Happy birthday, my son. If only I could have helped you."
He then goes on to perform an incredibly sad song called Leaves from the Vine. It's such a beautiful insight into the complex and well-written character, and it manages to be even more sad knowing that the voice actor for Uncle Iroh passed before the next season was recorded, making this his last episode.
Little soldier boy, come marching home. Brave soldier boy comes marching home.
Adventure Time is something so hard to explain to most people.
Oh, I can't wait.
It looks so silly and like a run-of-the-mill cartoon, but it deals with wildly complex themes. Like when Jake helps Finn get over a breakup by saying,
You see this cup? This is literally my favorite cup. Huh. Now it's gone forever, so it's not real, and I don't care about it anymore.
It tackles every struggle an adolescent will face, like finding the balance of not compromising who you are to please others, but also driving yourself to always be improving. It also helps show the essential nature of genuine relationships, how to build them, fix them when they fall apart, and even when to let them go. Loyalty and fellowship is also a prevailing theme throughout this show, so when the final episode rolls around and we see nearly everyone on the brink of death, The song You and I Will Always Be Back Then strikes a pretty intense chord. You see, Finn's final-ditch effort to save the world from a cosmic monster fails, and Jake, having done all that he could to help him, also fails. However, he's comforted by Bimo, the little brother type character in the series that's always goofy and fun and getting into trouble, but Bimo now takes up responsibility and comforts Jake.
It's okay, Jake. You always try to protect me and Finn, but sometimes we are going to get hurt. How about today, you let me be the papa?
Then Bimo sings this song, saying,
Time is an illusion that helps things make sense. So we are always living in the present tense. It seems unforgiving when a good thing ends. But you and I will always be back then.
This poses the beautiful idea that every good moment exists no matter what. No matter what happens after or before, that good moment will always exist. So if you lose someone, if you have to move on for one reason or another, that good moment will never go away. It continues to replay over and over in our heads and in our hearts, and that's why nostalgia is so powerful. We're re-experiencing times that were so good. We remember them specifically out of the thousands of hours we've existed. After Bimo starts singing, the entire cast of the show joins in, and knowing that John DiMaggio, the voice actor for Jake, almost couldn't record the song because he couldn't stop crying makes it even more touching. This was the end of the show's journey. The lives of these characters ended with no more episodes or story to keep them alive. But the episodes still exist, and anytime you watch them, they continue to live on. Okay, so Kingdom Hearts. This one was big for me. The thing that reminded me I can produce tears, even if the whole face-contorting, snot-running, mouth-open crying was not going to happen anytime soon, I could still feel real sadness. From Aqua, an entirely selfless character sacrificing herself for her lost friend who was consumed by evil. In doing this, she gives him another chance at life, but also sacrifices her own life to be trapped in the realm of darkness, where every minute of her existence would become filled with life-threatening battles against endless hordes of abominations. Until finally, after holding out for over a decade, Mickey finds her consumed by darkness. We hear her say,
"You're too late."
In another game, seeing the depressing story of someone whose existence was an accident, joined together by someone who was created as a superior version of him to replace his own existence. Then these two were forced to carry out deeds for the only people who were able to give them a purpose. But after realizing that the cost of their lives was taking a part of the life of the protagonist, someone who was driven, loved, and actually needed in the world, one of the two mistakes tricks the other into killing her to restore the protagonist. And after the other one realizes that he must die so that his friend didn't die in vain and so that the protagonist can go living on, he ends his existence with these words.
You're lucky. Looks like my summer vacation is over.
Relinquishing the life that he never asked for and never should have had to the person who he's told he took it from, despite the fact that he made his own path and forged his own relationships. And between these two moments, Kingdom Hearts has definitely filled me with some pretty sad emotions. Lastly, we have the short music video called Shelter by Porter Robinson. Porter Robinson is a musical artist who reached out to the anime studio responsible for the creation of Sword Art Online to make him a music video. The whole team was deeply inspired by his vision, and together they created a heartbreaking experience. The music and visuals are breathtaking, but the story for me is really what drives it. It shows a girl in her room with a tablet that she can use to draw whatever she wants, and then it comes to life in the real world. So she makes surreal landscapes and architecture that are strikingly beautiful and defy the laws of reality. But then as she looks at a park that she created, we see a flashback with her and her dad. We see they had an amazing relationship filled with joy and love, but when the dad hears of a world-devastating meteor approaching the Earth, he creates a life support ship that his daughter can exist in outer space where she'll be safe. So after only having enough time to make one for her, we are to assume that the world was destroyed and everyone along with it. We then go back to her and we see her tablet where it says that she hasn't received a message from anyone for thousands of years, and then it pulls back, revealing that she's not jumping from floating marshmallow to marshmallow that she created. She's actually unconscious in a spacecraft, able to do all these things but only within her mind because of the technology that her father created, while she herself is merely just a body and a life support system in space. And at the end of it all, we hear her say that
寂しさを知ってしまってくじけそうになってもあなたのおかげで思い出して強くなれるんだ一人じゃないってあなたのおかげで
It's so beautiful while also kind of heartbreaking, but it ends with a positive message to push on no matter how hard things get. Sort of in the same vein as Adventure Time, it believes that nothing can take away the good memories that you've had, and when things get hard, all we can do is hope that we can create even better memories in the future. I don't think it was a mistake that art was able to drive me to experience such intense emotions through visuals and music and story, because that's kind of the purpose of art, is to evoke emotion. And while I normally talk about other inspiring aspects of art, such as comedy and nostalgia and inspiration, I think that sadness shouldn't be overlooked, and sadness shouldn't be something that we fear or hate. Kind of like they depicted in Inside Out, it's essential for healthily processing emotions that we would otherwise not be able to deal with. It helps build emotional empathy and understanding for others. Honestly, sometimes it can even feel kind of good. One of the things that I think Gen Z will be remembered for is that they're all depressed and they make memes, and that's kind of how they self-identify. But depression is not necessarily feeling sad, it's feeling nothing. And sometimes you need to be able to experience great sadness to break out of your depression, just to know that you can feel that much, and then you'll be open to feeling other experiences. It's not always healthy to go searching for negative emotions, but if you have them, hey, that's just fine. I hope you got something out of this, and as always, I hope you have a good one.